Let us receive from God this morning these verses from Psalm 37, which says, "Do not fret because of evil men, or be envious of those who do wrong. For like the grass they will soon wither, like green plants they will soon die away. Trust in the Lord and do good. Dwell in the land and enjoy safe pasture. Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. Commit your way to the Lord, trust in Him, and He will do this. He will make your righteousness shine like the dawn, the justice of your cause like the noonday sun. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him." Something I like to do each year is to take 1 week's furlough as a spiritual retreat time. I always go somewhere different because my way of connecting with God is through creation. So I go out to discover His creation in different locations. So while serving at International Headquarters, I had the opportunity to take a week's spiritual retreat in Singapore. A little bit of a distance to fly, but it was worth the travel. And I spent many hours in a park by one of their major reservoirs. Now, this park has 10.5 kilometres of walkway, a boardwalk through the forest. And the scenery is just spectacular. And so I spent most of my week in that forest walking through the various tracks. It was a very peaceful place to be, and I could sense God's presence there with me. But they had many signs around this park, and there was one in particular that caught my attention, and this is what it said: "Be mindful of the peace and quiet. It is only when you keep silent that you allow the sounds of the forest to enter." Be mindful of the peace and quiet. It is only when you keep silent that you allow the sounds of the forest to enter. I soon discovered how true that sign was. As I walked further along the boardwalk, through the trees, I heard this funny sound. And as I looked up, there was a squirrel munching away, enjoying his breakfast. I stood and I watched and I listened. And I learned a lot from that squirrel. I go a bit further and I found some monkeys. They were a bit more mischievous. But by taking the time to be quiet, I heard the sounds of the forest. As I walked a little further along the track, I thought, gee, they just let all the dead leaves lie here and create the nutrients and things that the trees need. But then as I looked carefully at this never-ending path of dead leaves, there in the centre was one lone green fern, slowly developing and growing. How easy it would have been to miss that if I hadn't stopped and been silent and listened with my eyes. A bit further along, I heard another little sound, so I stopped and thought, what is that? And here was this little lizard making its way through the leaves. It was because I was intentionally silent and allowed the sounds of the forest to enter my ears, and my eyes, and my heart, that I discovered many little wonders of God's creation in that place. In Psalm 37, David encourages us to do just that, to be still and wait patiently for God. He commences the psalm by telling us in verse 1 not to fret, not to allow our worry or concern to lead us to becoming angry or unsettled, frustrated, all of those things. He says that the wicked are temporary and their prosperity is just as tenuous as the spring grass. These are wise words for us. In the midst of our worries, we need to stop, be still, and allow the voice of God to speak to us. It will be in this stillness that we will be reassured that we can trust God. I'm sure we have all had experiences in life where we have felt burdened by things that have happened. And perhaps we hurt so much and feel so confused and disappointed that we cannot see the way forward. We all face times in our life when our trust in God is tested. It is in those times we need to remember the words of Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your paths. These are probably some of the most well-known verses in Scripture in regards to trust. Trusting God involves a total commitment on our part. We are to trust God with all our heart and obey Him in all our ways. This is not a blind trust, but a learned trust. It is learned as we develop more confidence in living our lives with God. The danger comes when we take our eyes off what God is telling us and rely on our own understanding. This doesn't mean that we cease to use our own brain and think things through for ourselves, nor does it mean that we cease to use our common sense. It simply is a warning to us that if we try to do it in our way, if we try to determine what is right and wrong without guidance and wisdom from God, then we could miss God's will and purpose for us. So again, we see the importance of taking time to be still, to be silent, and to listen to the sound of God. We need to allow God to speak to us and to be our wisdom and guidance. We cannot do it on our own. We need to trust God. David then goes on to say in verse 4, "Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart." The word translated delight in this context comes from a root that means to be brought up in luxury, to be spoiled. This verse speaks of the abundance of the blessings we have in God Himself. This is totally apart from what He gives us. So how can we enjoy the blessings of God and ignore the one who blesses us? It doesn't make sense, really. In Jesus Christ, we have all God's treasures. We need no other. If we truly delight in the Lord, then surely the desire of our heart will be to know God better, so we can delight in Him even more. The more of ourself that we give to God, the more He satisfies the deep desire of our heart. The promise of being given the desires of our heart, however, is not for those who want things. It is for those who want more of God in their lives. It's all about knowing Jesus. So we need to spend time with God each day, to receive from Him, to learn from Him, to share with Him those things which are of importance to us. And taking the time to be quiet and still before Him, we receive His blessing. But there is more to come. In verses 5 and 6 of the Psalm, David goes on to say, "Commit your way to the Lord, trust in Him, and He will do this. He will make your righteousness shine like the dawn, the justice of your cause like the noonday sun." How often do we make our plans for the day, ask God to bless them, and then go about what we need to do? What perhaps we should be doing is asking God what His plans are for us, for the day, committing our day to Him, and then allowing Him to guide us through the things that come our way during the day. God wants to share the burdens of our day because as we give those to Him, He guides and directs us, and we are able to serve Him better. The danger comes when we commit our way to the Lord, but then don't trust Him to guide us through it. We revert to doing it in our own strength. We deny God the opportunity to work through us to bring about His purposes. There is no other way. We need to lay it all on the altar, commit our way to Him, delight in Him, and trust in Him. All of this can only happen if we take time each day to be still before the Lord and wait patiently before Him. Nothing is more important than this. And as followers of Jesus, we need to guard our time with Him. We need to take the time each day to make a calm surrender to the Lord, to make a creative silence in which we can wait before God and experience His peace and power. We can all become impatient and want God to answer us right now. But God is not like that. Sometimes God needs us to experience something more before He is able to fully respond to our requests. Sometimes God needs us to experience something more to enable us to see that there is a different way. Sometimes God simply closes the door because what we have sought from Him is not what would be good for us. And sometimes God answers our prayers in ways we just never thought possible. He can only do this if we take time to be still and wait. Wait patiently for Him. This morning we have been given the gift of time. The time to be silent, to be still, and to wait patiently for Him. I invite you to embrace this time to be silent before God and to listen to His voice. Be still and wait patiently for Him. As we come into this time of prayer, I'll invite you to share together in the prayer that is on the pamphlet on the table. Be still. I will read the text that is in bold type. It's found on the back. I will read the lines in bold type and invite you to read the other lines. Let us share these words together this morning as a prayer together. Be still and know that I am God.
I stand in complete awe and reverence of my King.
Be still and know that I am.
You are the great I am.
Be still and know that I am.
You are my all. You are everything.
Be still and know that.
These things I know to be true.
Be still and know.
I stand in quiet reverence because you are my Father.
Be still and
I will be silent and still.
be still.
You have my attention.
Be.
This is who you made me to be.
Let us take time to be still. Pray and wait silently before God and let Him speak.